gentlemen. It's nice to see you. How are you?
Very good. Hi.
Well, thank you.
First of all, this scandal, this story is completely crazy, but I can't believe how easy it was for Stonehouse in the 70s. Fake his own death, new identity, new passport. I mean, I tried the other day in preparation for this interview. It just didn't work. So that was
It's very
one of
hard
those...
to fake your own death now.
It is. I know, right? But when you learned about this story and through research, what was the most surprising and shocking thing besides the lies and intrigues that were part of the scandal? Because there's still so much mystery that we have yet to uncover, I guess.
I was surprised by how easy it was for him to do. I mean, I think that's sort of, in our story, he's inspired by The Day of the Jackal and Edward Fox's character going into the passport office or the registry of deaths and getting a death certificate or a birth certificate of a constituent, and the idea that the deaths and births didn't speak to each other, so it was easy to create a new identity, and so that's what Stonehouse did. He did it twice, I think. He had two different identities. So, yeah, extraordinary.
What about you, Kevin?
Well, I lived through the whole story, and it's remarkable, I think, even for people in the public eye, how much more private lives were in those days, and before there was the social media that now covers the planet. In fact, I was just saying to the last interviewer, I did, when phones and social media came out, and it's particularly relevant to this. I remember saying to a younger actor, how does anybody have an affair anymore? I mean, it's just simply impossible,
Impossible.
I know.
Yeah. Because, everybody knows where you are all the time and what you're doing, and you're always talking to people and things are being posted. It's extraordinary. Very, very different world. Very, very different world.
I absolutely agree. But I didn't think that Stonehouse was neither likable nor completely hateful. What did you have in mind, Matthew, when you agreed to portray him? What was your main goal when you decided? Because he a lot of times makes a fool out of himself.
I didn't really have anything. I just the script is so clever and clear and funny and interesting and sad in many ways. I just sort of trusted in that, and that's all you can do really as an actor. And he's kind of sympathetic in a way. I mean, he thinks he's doing the right thing and he's doing his best, and and he's got a sort of strange streak of vanity, and he sort of plows on with things which aren't going well, but he sort of goes on regardless, and in a sort of bizarre, demented way, and he, even though it's getting worse and worse and worse. So I just sort of had fun with that, I suppose. But he's not a bad man, and he was a very good MP, certainly in the early days. He did a lot of interesting and good work in developing countries, and he was sort of tip of the top. And as far as from various accounts, he was a very personable guy. He was good fun to be with. He was good fun. It's quite dishy. It's quite sort of interesting, and but he just got in over his head.
He has a promising career in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of research and how much access you had to historical files, what was the most interesting things about that, and what did you actually have access to? Because I think some things might be top secret or something like that. I don't know.
No. Our producer sent me a load of stuff, sort of links to archive video, and there's a lot of film of Stonehouse and Barbara and Stonehouse, around the world and doing bits and pieces, and then lots of sort of press stuff after his arrest, and so I watched a lot of that. But that's sort of good fun. But I wasn't doing an impersonation of him. It's a sort of impression, I suppose. Yeah. So I wasn't it was just sort of at a certain point you go, okay, that's I've just all you've got is the script, really. I'd say, wouldn't you say, Kevin? I mean, after a while, then you start going a bit mad. You think, well, he does this sort of thing, and I've got to try and emulate that, and you can't really.
No, exactly, and I felt about Wilson. I mean, I did, I remembered him from my childhood, and I felt people were more aware of him, so I wanted to be as much like him as possible. But eventually, you have to launch into a performance of a human being, and not sort of leap from trope to trope. you know, of the
Exactly,
way a
yeah.
person behaved. You know, at some point you have to give that up and move on. I think. Very much as Matthew just described. Although, you know, I think I did a documentary. I voiced a documentary just afterwards about Stonehouse, and I think Matthew did capture him wonderfully, but he didn't get bogged down in it. You know.
You both did such an incredible job. They're giving me the wrap. Thank you so much for joining me. Before I go, I have to say, Matthew, I think Ripper Street is one of the best series ever made, and Kevin. And Kevin, I grew up on Pirates of the Caribbean, so it means so much that you took the time to talk with me today. Thank you so much for joining me, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you.